AI is not good enough to replace you at work, and yet it might still be the reason you lose your job. How could that be possible? Today, I'm going to show you how that can happen through 3 very real mechanisms. Now, all of this is happening quite fast, so let's not waste any time and get straight to the first point. You will pay for the mistakes of elites. To understand this mechanism, let us look back to something we all remember, the coronavirus pandemic. You might be wondering what the pandemic has to do with the AI boom, but give me a few minutes and I will make it clear. COVID brought us so much suffering and so many challenges, but a silver lining was technology that allowed us to continue to work, shop, stay in touch with friends, and entertain ourselves. The world went digital overnight, and companies like Amazon, Netflix, and Meta absolutely exploded. This should have been an absolute win for online businesses. But instead of seeing the surge as something temporary, corporations tried to convince Wall Street and all of us that the digital shift was permanent. They called it the new normal.
Welcome to the new normal. In an unprecedented time of workplace transformation, there are opportunities to thrive, not just survive.
Amazon invested heavily to expand warehouse capacity. Netflix poured billions into content. And Facebook, oh boy. While we were all in lockdown, CEO Mark Zuckerberg shared his very smart vision for what he thought the world would soon look like. He was going to give us the opportunity to spend hours with our faces covered by virtual reality headsets, and human society would move from living rooms and offices to cartoonish three-dimensional worlds. It was going to be the greatest thing since apps, maybe even since sliced bread. To his credit, the Zuck put his money where his mouth was and committed hard to this vision.
Our company is now Meta.
And then, we won against the virus. The world reopened, and everyone rushed to make up for lost time. Turns out that people actually like going out for a drink and traveling and meeting friends and loved ones in person. The new normal narrative collapsed very quickly. Growth was going to fall under expectations, and the massive investments in warehouses and virtual worlds were not going to produce returns. The Nasdaq 100 had reached 16,500 points in late 2021, but had fallen to under 11,000 points by late 2022. All the gains made during the pandemic were wiped out. So what happened to tech billionaires who took massive bets and got them wrong? How did they handle the consequences? Simple. They let accountability trickle down all over their employees. They rolled out massive layoffs, firing thousands of workers while chanting words loved by Wall Street such as efficiency and realignment. All right, enough of the history lesson. Let's finally get to how this relates to the ongoing AI rush. The soaring investments of the pandemic are back, with corporations spending eye-watering amounts of capital on AI infrastructure. Over the next 2 years, Amazon, Meta, Google, and Microsoft will spend $750 billion on data centers, servers, and chips. Investments are only as good as their returns, though, and that is where the AI rush starts to look dubious.
We are absolutely in an AI bubble now. It is going to burst. I don't know when.
Are we in an AI bubble? Of course we are.
To be fair, AI has done some impressive things and has helped millions to research, code, and fabricate alarmingly realistic videos. But as a replacement for human intelligence, it has major limitations, as shown by reports that AI projects have failed 95% of the time. However, we also see reports of companies conducting mass firings, often citing AI as a reason. But the real story emerges when we look closer at these reports. They did not say that they sent home workers because they were replaced by AI. Instead, they disposed employees in order to fund the enormous investments needed for AI. And what happens if AI falls short? Just like the metaverse and the other crazy bets taken by these same tech CEOs just a few years ago.
Stop listening to hype bros. Every single time, they just fill the entire market with nonsense. And what ends up happening? 2 years later, it's just desolation. NFTs, terrible. AI before, terrible. AI again, sure, it's fancy autocomplete.
Well, they already have a playbook that works. Shrug their shoulders at their strategic failures and sagely proclaim that they are now committed to efficiency. But how will that convince Wall Street? Simple. Turn to a time-honored tradition of trickling down accountability and fire tens of thousands of employees. The markets will smile and all will be well in the corporate world.
But if you're on this call, this is confirmation that you are part of the unlucky group who are having their contract terminated with immediate effect on the grounds of staffing redundancy, and today is your final day of employment. Final day of employment.
So yes, AI might never be good enough to do your work, but could be bad enough that it costs you your job.
This is a very sad day, and I thank you for your time today and your service to Waystar Royco. Goodbye.
Unfortunately, it gets worse because there are two more mechanisms through which AI can destroy employment even if it fails to deliver great results. Before we get into those, let me just say that my intent with this video is not to spread doom and gloom. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Of course, the way the world is going, I expect that dystopia porn is going to become a growing genre, but that is not what I want to do. My intention is that we understand the potential consequences of what's happening in the world of technology and politics right now. And making videos like this helps me understand things better and maybe starts conversations that will help us all improve our shared understanding. Perhaps understanding will lead to intention and intention will lead to change. But that's enough wishful thinking for now. Let's get back to our grim subject. Slop will be supreme. It is tempting to believe that consumers will reject low-quality AI-generated products. Surely, audiences will not tolerate an endless stream of synthetic writing, derivative art, and automated entertainment. Surely, slop cannot win.
First is becoming unusable. You literally click on anything, and it's like, this is so obviously AI, and it's so frustrating. I want actual images. It's just exhausting and gives me a headache every time I try to use it.
But what if people don't actually care about quality as much as we think? A common pattern with tech platforms is to look promising at the start, but then sink into mediocrity.
Amazon sucks right now. Uber sucks right now. Netflix sucks. Facebook sucks. Instagram sucks. Every big tech company is changing in front of our very eyes. Basically, every big tech company follows the exact same pattern. Something that a guy called Cory Doctorow summarized really well with the term Enshittification.
Enshittification is not a new idea. Descriptively, it describes how platforms go bad. That first they're good to their end users, they find a way to lock those end users in, and then they make things worse for those end users because the lock-in means that the end users are unlikely to depart. They use that new surplus to make things good for business customers. They lock those business customers in, making them dependent on those end users. And then they make things worse for the business customers too, and then they turn into a pile of shit.
On the other side of the market are the creators. Writers, designers, illustrators, developers, musicians, people whose livelihoods depend on producing original work. The more consumers accept slop, the greater pressure it puts on creators, driving many of them out of jobs and out of business. Authentic work by humans will become increasingly rare and more expensive, making us even more reliant on AI. The result is a feedback loop. By the time this vicious cycle runs out of steam, we might find that human creativity is reduced to a boutique luxury like mechanical watches or handwritten letters. Perhaps this destructive power of AI will act as a natural constraint. Or will it? You will not be missed. if we are really clutching at straws and looking for some source of hope, we might think that firms cannot eliminate too many jobs because workers are also consumers. If people don't have jobs to earn money, then is the corporate world shooting itself in the foot by destroying jobs in the name of AI? Unfortunately, your value as a consumer may not be as high as you think. One of the popular concepts we learn in business school is customer segmentation, where you identify high-value customers and extract maximum profit by prioritizing them. One of the principles that emerges from this is that it's okay to fire customers in the lower, less profitable segments. And with the extraordinary stratification in our economy, people who do not occupy the very highest segments of income and wealth are increasingly at risk of being fired from the entire economy.
So much of the economy relies on consumer spending, we can't let those consumers fall too far, or else there will be nobody left to sell stuff to, right? Wrong. I have mentioned this statistic before, but for those who haven't heard it, 50% of all consumer spending is now done by just the top 10% of households. Now, that's a scary statistic by itself, but what it doesn't mention is that the bottom 60% of households now collectively account for less than 20% of the spending, and a growing share of that is being supported by risky consumer debt. The companies that have been performing best over the last 5 years have been in industries catering to wealthy consumers or to investor hype. Ferrari is now worth twice as much as Honda, and even Walmart is changing its business model to cater to more upmarket shoppers. More than 200 million people could drastically cut their spending tomorrow, and the total drop in economic activity could be covered over by increased spending on things like AI. In fact, it's kind of already happening. Personal consumption contributed less to economic growth than data center construction in the last reported quarter, and a majority of that consumption was done by just 10% of households anyway.
So, you are more likely to be fired from your job because you are more likely to be fired as a consumer. Alright, those are the 3 mechanisms that I wanted to explore with you. And as I wrap up, I do feel a conviction that the big risk of the AI age may not be that machines surpass humans. It may be that AI is flawed, but a few people with power still find it convenient. And this might lead us to reorganizing our economies around this mediocre technology, decimating the livelihoods of billions. Or perhaps we harness AI to serve the needs of people across all sections of society and collectively climb a few more rungs of the civilizational ladder. One way or the other, disruption is coming. Having said all that, by the way, I would love to hear in the comments if you have any thoughts on this topic or if you think I missed anything in my analysis. But it's also worth thinking, what if AI actually works well? I do have some thoughts, including a scenario where things might be truly beneficial for you and me. But that's for another video, which is a great segue to invite you to subscribe to this channel. I am an aspiring science fiction writer, and on this channel, I'll be sharing stories as well as thoughts on topics like this one. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.